What's going on, guys? So we had our first episode of Schmac Talk last week, and as we were editing the files, they ended up going corrupted. So this will be our first episode. So we do refer to it as week 2. Just a heads up. I hope you guys enjoy. What's up, everyone? Welcome to week 2 of Schmac Talk. We got some juicy conversations today. We're going to mainly be sticking to the NFL talk. We want to discuss those rookie quarterbacks coming in, discuss the Bears starting quarterback, and also want to get into college a little bit and talk about the NIL agreement. And then we got a little surprise at the end for you guys. So I'm your host, Pat, and my co-host, Nick. Let's get right into it.
All right, so first, we got to talk about Da Bears. Da Bears. It's Da Bears. Also known as the graveyard of quarterbacks. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, let's think about it. Statistically, their last good one was Jay Cutler.
Yeah, and then they traded him for Oswell or something like that.
Oh, Osweiler? He's been around. I forgot about him.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. No, he's been here and there. Is he even in the league anymore?
No. If he is, he's practice squad. I have not seen Osweiler show up in a minute.
Made his name in Denver.
He was great in Denver. Came to Chicago and then just like off.
Yeah.
Just
but
couldn't
he got a nice penny for that. Think about that. He got paid pretty nice. In addition to that, they had Glennon, who they overpaid, and then they traded up for Trubisky, which nobody understood why, but So yeah, it's the graveyard of quarterbacks. But they got our guy, Buckeye fans, the one, the only Justin Fields on their roster. Okay. But he's in a quarterback battle right now with the Red Rifle, Andy Dalton. So, what do you think about that?
I'm so currently, as it stands, I believe Andy Dalton's taking the starting position currently, and I think if he can produce during the season, he'll keep that quarterback starting position. But if they make it to the playoffs, he's going to get pulled because he's got that big choke factor. And then Justin Fields will take over, and I think he'll come in and save the day for them if they make it to playoffs. Because I think Andy's a really good during the season quarterback. Just when it comes to playing in a game that has potential of being something more, then he starts getting in his own head and just can't produce like other quarterbacks. At least that's what it was in Cincy.
Well, see, you brought up Cincy. Is it him or is it Cincy?
See, that's the part that I don't know. If he comes out and they make it to the playoffs, it's definitely Cincinnati, and I think Cincinnati is going to become like the Browns, and they're hitting that low, and the Browns are just coming up. So, I mean, that's my hope, but.
Think about this. If you're a Bengals fan, if you're called the next Browns, are you happy? Because guess what? At some point, you will be good again.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's with any team, though. You're going to hit a stride of we're the best. We're one of the better teams in the league. And then you're going to hit a low point. Just look at the Patriots. Once, Brady left, they're kind of in a down year. They're coming up. They have Cam Newton, and then Alabama quarterback Mac
Jones.
Mac Jones. And they're looking pretty good. I think they have a good chance this year, but I don't want to say that it's going to correspond for the Bengals as well. I think they'll go through more of a drought period where it's going to be more than 2 years. It's probably, I'd say 10, hopefully only 10. I don't think it'll be that bad. But I don't think they're drafting prospects. Their drafting isn't the best, in my opinion.
No, that's a whole another issue, which we can get in for another day. But I like how you said Andy Dalton's probably going to be the starting quarterback. Speaking of the Bears, I personally don't have an issue with that. The only thing I will note is that your fans, they're going to want Justin Fields because you traded up to get him, right? So, I mean, he came on in his first preseason game and there was a standing ovation because you traded up to get him. Everyone's like, oh, this guy's legit. You know, everything that you're hearing about him is that he's the hardest worker in the gym. Everything that was pre-draft narrative, that is all being claimed to be false, smokescreen, as everybody thought it was, you know, trying him to fall. So the fans are not going to want Andy Dalton. That's the truth, unfortunately. Yeah. But as we know, we want Justin to succeed, and he needs to learn some. And also, I pulled up the Bears' schedule, and your first 3 games, you open the season with the Rams, and then you host the Bengals, and then go to the Browns. 2 of those 3 are scary defenses.
Yeah.
The Rams and Browns are not easy to read. You know, you got Aaron Donald on one of those teams, and then you got Clowney and Myles Garrett coming at you at the same time on the other team. Do you want Justin Fields in for those games? I mean, I'd be terrified that a Joe Burrow would happen.
Yeah, that's a good point, and I didn't really think about that. I think going into it, yeah, you want to see Justin Fields be number 1 quarterback, especially if you're going to trade up for him. However, with the current, I don't know what you'd call it, the current status of the team, I'd say that Andy has the skills to be an NFL quarterback. It's proven he can play in the season. As much as I bashed on him 2 seconds ago, he's way better than me. I don't want anyone to think that, oh, I'm better than Andy Dalton. No, not at all. Not at all.
Well, I think you bring up a good point. He's a good quarterback. He's not an Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. He's not an Aaron Rodgers. He's not a Russell Wilson. He's not a Tom Brady, a Patrick Mahomes. But if you look at the statistics that he had in Cincinnati, he was always, my number 2 fantasy quarterback because he was reliable. Okay. Yeah. And of course, everyone's like, oh, last year, look how he did with the Cowboys. Well, also, can we take note that the Cowboys had half their team out with injury?
Yeah, you're basically playing with a second team and then going against all starters, and you're going to take those losses.
Yeah. So, but I think you're right. He's a good, reliable veteran. I think he will start the season. I think they might actually split it half and half depending on how it's going. But I think he's actually a good mentor for Justin Fields.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Even if Justin Fields doesn't get in the first couple of games, I think just being able to watch Andy and watch him play first snaps, he's going to get a lot more kind of insight on how the game changes from college to NFL, which I think is a big point that a lot of rookies don't get to see when they come in. I feel like they either come in number 1 pick and then start right off the bat. And then, you're getting that almost drop in the deep end, learn to swim kind of mentality. And some of them can do it, but you see a lot of them fail, honestly.
Yeah, sink and swim model. There's a lot of those guys who, I feel bad for Trubisky. Part of me does, not really for the financial purposes because he's set for life, Yeah.
And, oh yeah.
But yeah, he was sink or swim, and it just didn't work out. But there's, like you said, there's quarterbacks all the time. But I'm still looking at their schedule, and if you're looking at defenses, so yeah, they start with the Rams, then go to Bengals, Browns, Lions, Raiders, Packers, Buccaneers, 49ers, Steelers, Ravens, Lions, Cardinals with JJ Watt, Packers, Vikings, Seahawks, Giants, Vikings. That's a scary schedule.
Yeah. Based on, the Bears really the past couple of years haven't been too hot, and I think they can only go up from where they were. So I think this year coming in, it's a scary schedule, but I do think that with the 2 quarterbacks being able to if they decide to go split time 50-50, I think that would be a great motto for them. That way you just have someone fresh in there and you can just snap into the next set, you know?
Yeah, and I think with that, like, there's probably some listeners and fans out there that are going to be like, well, if you have two quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks. You know, we said that last week. But
yeah,
also at the same time, are you as an organization, do you truly believe that this year you can compete for a championship?
yeah,
Because in all honesty, no, you're not going to. I think if you look at just from watching, you know, preseason games, and you take preseason games with a grain of salt because you don't really know what it is. But if you look at the teams, the Lions are not going to compete for that division. Okay.
yeah,
Especially like when they had Stafford, they were always a scary game. They could always beat you, but I don't think Goff is really the answer. So that's going to be in half a decade. Where are they? Because I think, and you give Campbell 5 years, I think they're going to be that old school Detroit feel, which will be fun to watch.
yeah.
But the Lions aren't doing anything. The Packers, those are you're on top. Vikings, I have no idea. So if you look at the division, the Bears could argue to be the second best team. But then you look at that schedule, the question is, will they?
Yeah.
They drew their AFC cross division is with the AFC North. Which, I mean, that's tough. That is three playoff contenders in that division alone.
Yeah. And just being in that division kind of puts you at a disadvantage moving forward, just because there is so much competition. But it's also one of those things where it's like there is so much competition that it could, if one team stops giving that competition, they're out. Like they need to either like take a break, have a bye week, and then like the next week come in, hit them strong. But there's so much competition in the AFC right now that I think it's going to be great for the conference as a whole, just because you're getting the best of the best, and every week it's going to be a good game. Where previously it's been like the AFC, I feel like hasn't been like the top dog, you know, and I mean, that in my opinion just shows like you need that high competition to be the top dog, and it's definitely going to wean out who's not there, and whoever doesn't make that shown that they are the best, then they will get taken out and sent to the back.
I apologize. The dogs are barking at a truck that went by.
They're ready to go.
Yeah, they're ready for it. You know, attack and dominate. But no, I think you're absolutely right. The AFC in the past has been, I feel like it's been a 2-horse race: Patriots and then whoever Peyton Manning's on.
Yeah.
So it's been very top heavy. You know, now with Patrick Mahomes, you know, it was still top heavy when the early 2 seasons when Patrick was there, but now it's very thick. It's very deep.
Yeah.
And I feel like the NFC, and this is just my personal opinion, you can hate it if you want, you know, it is what it is, but I feel like the NFC is now going towards that 2-3 teams at the top, and then there's everybody else.
Yeah, which I think that's just the cycle of the league. That's just pretty much how it works. Like, you're going to see the AFC be top dog, and then the NFC will come up, and then they'll be the top dog, and then you'll have like the 2 good teams in the AFC, and then NFC is going to be stacked. That's just the cycle of the league. And I think that we're just in one of those turnaround points where the AFC is becoming that top dog. And then I'd say within 5-10 years, we're going to see a like turnaround. NFC is going to be nasty, and then AFC is going to have those top 2 teams, you know, but that's going to be something we'll just have to wait and see on. I definitely think that with going back to the original topic of like the Chicago Bears, with the 2 quarterbacks, I don't see them being at a deficit. I think that they're going to be put into a league where there is a lot of competition. And I think that they're able to maintain with that competition, but I don't think they're going to be the best but I don't think they're going to be the worst. I think they're definitely going to be a middle. This is definitely going to be like a building year for them. Figure out who the main quarterback's going to be, get that figured out, and then work the offense around that. And then, I mean, their defense is always pretty good. Like, I don't ever see the Bears with like a bad defense, like, oh, they gave up 500 yards. No, it's usually kept within like 200. Like 250.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And I'm glad you brought that up, because I was going to say, regardless of who the starting quarterback ends up being for the Bears, they will always be in games.
Yeah.
Because the defense that you have will keep you in games.
Oh, yeah.
So, and on top of that, one thing that kind of always frustrates me, obviously, I don't like the Bears. I respect the crap out of them, but I don't like them because of my Packers. Yeah, the Bears versus my Packers. My Packers are always superior. But one guy that continues to get slept on with the Bears is Allen Robinson. All right. So I think regardless of who the quarterback is, if he has a good year, if you're the Bears, you will be in the playoffs.
Yeah.
If he has a good year and your defense continues to keep you in games, you will be fine. You just have to go in with the mindset that this is going to be a learning year, and this might be a 500 year. We have one of the toughest schedules. We got one of the toughest draws. It is what it is. You deal with it. Okay. You move forward. It's going to be a learning year, but I think you will be in every single game. Yeah.
I don't think they're going to be. I think it's going to be kind of like the Browns season this year, with a little more of closeness and just a few more losses. Like, I don't see them getting blown out like 48-7 or anything like that. I see it being like 28-21, like a lot of like 7-14 point differences at most. Like, within that range, that's going to be the losses that the Bears are going to take this year.
It'll be 2 possession games.
Yeah.
At max.
They're a solid team. And once they get the quarterback situation figured out, I think they have a chance of being a dominant team. I think the Bears are going to be the Bears again.
That would be scary. I don't want that.
I mean, for you, no. But for Bears fans, we're like, yeah, let's get it. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, they're about to get a new stadium and everything.
I completely forgot about that.
With the whole, because it's owned by the Parks and Rec of Chicago. Like, that's all crazy. But but speaking of rookie quarterbacks, let's just dive in to our top 5.
The dudes.
Yeah. So do you want to start with overall, or do you want to save him?
Let's start from the bottom. Let's start with like number 5 here. Let's talk about Mac Jones going to the Patriots, fighting with Cam Newton for that starting spot.
All right. So Mac Jones, from what I've seen, I actually did sit down and watch the Patriots preseason game. Don't know why I did, but I did. And I watched my Packers preseason game too. That was miserable. But Mac Jones, he's looking good. The thing is that he's doing what you expect from him. It's the same thing that he did when he was at Alabama. He's not going to stay back there. He doesn't have the strongest arm. He's not going to just bomb it downfield. He's going to get it out quick. He makes good reads on slants. That's pretty much what he does. That's his bread and butter. All right. So he's just now perfecting that. He looks good. You can kind of see how the offense is slightly different play calling wise when he's in versus when Cam's in. Yeah. So you can see how they're trying to mesh the offense to the quarterback just in case, like depending on who is in. I think he's looked good, but I don't think he'll be the starter.
Yeah. I was actually just watching a little interview, or not interview, just like a press talk about who they think was going to be the starting quarterback for New England. And based on like just Cam Newton as a quarterback in general, if he's hitting, he's an MVP. He is a Super Bowl quarterback. If he gets into the machine that is the New England Patriots, disgusting. They will be so hard to beat as a team, and which I would like to see. I personally enjoy watching Cam Newton play. I think just him being so like, you never know what he's going to do. Like even though he is more restricted with being able to run the ball, he is still able to run the ball and be a freaking monster coming at you. And he's also able to hit his passes. Like he's not a quarterback that when he's hitting, he's hitting. But once I feel like anything goes bad, if he starts throwing a couple interceptions in a game, that really depletes him. And it really just gets in his head because he knows he's better than that. But, that happens. So if Cam can stay 100% in the game, just keep berating them with his superpowers that he has, then I think that Cam is going to be that starting quarterback, no doubt. And then Mac Jones is a pretty solid backup. Based on his film that I've seen with Alabama and coming into the league, he kind of gives me like Andy Dalton kind of vibes. I don't think he's going to be, the next like Tom Brady or anything like that, but he's going to be a sufficient quarterback to get you through a year or get shit done for a game if Cam gets hurt. I don't see him being necessarily a big threat to the opposing team, but I don't see him being let's just kill the quarterback, easy money, Yeah,
no, I think you hit the nail right on the head, especially when you said Cam will be, Superman again if he can stay 100% healthy. If he's 100% in the games. And that's the whole thing is everybody was dogging on him last year. Like, he can't throw the ball 5 yards down the field. Well, he was injured last year.
Yeah.
Okay. He had COVID last year. Like there's so many things, like he was not himself. So I think we can't, I'm glad you brought that up because we can't keep saying or keeping this narrative about him. He was not himself. So, this year he's looking more like himself.
Yeah.
If he continues to struggle, then we can have that whole conversation. And maybe it's really just the system.
Yeah. Maybe
it has to be a certain quarterback to fit into Belichick's system. And so I think with Mac Jones, you have that quarterback. It's a very, he is not mobile. Okay. We'll just say what it is. He is not mobile.
Yeah.
Okay. So if he drops back there, guess what? If he doesn't get the ball out quick, he's going to get sacked. Tom Brady's the same way.
Yeah.
Okay. Tom Brady also had really good offensive line, which allowed him to stay back there for what felt like forever. And you're yelling at your TV, get him. But he's just chilling. And he could bomb it downfield. So I think you're absolutely right with Cam will be your starter until he shows he can't.
Yeah.
Right. And Mac Jones is not by any means a bad quarterback to have as a backup. He's a good backup. Okay. Yeah. But he does need to learn. And guess what? Tom Brady sat like how many seasons before he really got a chance?
I think it was like 2 or 3, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. He learned and then he became the greatest of all time at that position. So can Mac do that? Well, absolutely. Mac is really confusing with Mac and Cam.
Mac and Cam just backwards, and you're like, oh, wait, which one was he talking about?
Belichick definitely drafted him just to do that.
Yeah.
He's mind games. But no, I think Mac can be the next Tom Brady, but you can't bank on that because anybody can be the next Tom Brady. Okay. I will note this about the whole, he looked great in Alabama. He absolutely did. But I think we're not giving Saban enough credit when we say that Alabama team last season was utterly amazing. Okay, I hate to admit it because they beat our Buckeyes, but that team would beat any team in college football. It was utterly ridiculous how good they were.
Yeah.
So it helps when you have a lot of. I mean, when the Heisman Trophy winner is your number one wide receiver, it helps.
Like when you have the Patriots have the assets to be able to. They have the wide receivers. I don't think that there's a shortness of options for them. And with the Patriots line, I think that they've been pretty good. They keep the pocket. They don't really let it collapse too often. I mean, obviously it's going to happen from time to time, but with the Patriots, the only thing I really think about is, all right, we got to send everybody to get back to the quarterback, just because they hold that pocket so well. And I think that if Cam isn't playing and Mac is in there, I think that'll definitely help Mac, because he's going to have that offensive line being the wall that they are, giving him the time that he needs to find that open man. The only thing is, though, with Mac, I don't see his deep ball. I don't see that being an option, really. And I think that'll definitely be something they will work on with him, because once he gets that, he's got the short game down. He can make those short passes. He's not a mobile quarterback, so he doesn't have that threat. If you can give him that deep ball option as a secondary, I think that would definitely open up the Patriots offense when he is on the field, just because it gives that option like Tom Brady, where he is able to go for that deep ball, but also keep that short game going.
Oh, absolutely. So this will be a check back in like 2 years, see what happens, because he's got to develop that,
exactly.
Which is no big deal. I would like to note that I think with the Patriots line, how good it is, how good it normally is. I think when Cam is in there, it's okay if it's not as great, because even though he's not the runner he used to be,
he knows how to be mobile in the pocket.
He's still a threat. I mean, the dude is a physical freak.
Yeah.
He's a physical freak. So it'll be interesting. I think we're both on the same page with it's going to be Cam to start, Max a serviceable backup, and we'll see what happens. I think he has a bright future. But, if Cam comes back to Superman, how many years is Mac sitting and waiting? So,
but I mean, once Cam's done, though, Mac is that next guy in line.
Absolutely.
If Cam has a bad year this year, or like a semi-decent year, he comes back, plays one more year, and then retires. I can perfectly see that happening. But when it comes to Mac coming in right now, I don't think he's ready to take on that starting role. Giving him those 2 years to be able to develop, and watching Cam play, I think that'll be definitely one of those things that will make or break him in the future.
Yeah.
What's up, dude?
I saw him walk in.
He's like, hey, I'm on the cast now. What's up, guys?
Yeah. No, I think it would also be worth noting, or asking, does Belichick go get Jimmy G if Cam gets hurt and Mac's not showing promise? I mean, does he bring him back?
Yeah.
Does he bring him back?
I mean, he knows the offense, I'd say bring him back. Like, if Mac busts that, like, if Mac is a complete bust, you got to go get Jimmy G. I feel like that's like the only option you have on the table. Because, like, Cam, like, if Cam is healthy, you got like 1 or 2 years left before you need to go get it. But you also don't want to wait too long, because if Jimmy G is on the market for too long and available, you lost him.
Well, you don't want to wait too long, because in this industry, it is a win now mentality. Yeah. You're given, when you're restarting and you're rebuilding, it's like, oh, everyone knows it's probably going to be like a 5-year stage, right? Yeah. But after year 2, it's, hey, we got to go now. Yeah. And with the Patriots, with how much success, exactly, with how much success the Patriots have had, even though last year everybody knew it was going to be a down year, we got to be able to win now. Yeah. So win now mentality, charge it to winning. So we'll see what happens. Speaking of Jimmy G, let's go to Trey Lance out in the Bay Area. We've already talked about Justin Fields at length, so we can hop over Justin and go straight to Trey Lance, who was the 3rd overall pick, going out to them 49ers.
See, okay, so with Trey Lance, I feel like North Dakota State has put out some pretty good quarterbacks, You got Wentz came out. He's doing pretty good in the league, considering they're a D3, right? D3 school?
No, they're a D1.
Oh.
They're FCS. So They don't play with the big boys. So they're so Butler has a football team.
Yeah.
they play with like them. It's the FCS, so it's all the smaller D1 schools.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really hear too much about North Dakota State, so I can't really be like, oh, he's going to be great. And I mean, from what I've seen, he's a developed quarterback. Like, he's ready for the league. If it's anything like Wentz, I think he's going to be. I don't know. It's hard to say because you're going from school going to the league, and it's small D1 school, the FBS. Like, it's not like it's there. The FBS was the same as was the FCS smaller?
FCS is small. FBS is large.
FCS, they're in their own league for a reason. So it's going to be a bigger gap in the league. But I think he's that race. I think based on saying Wentz coming out and showing he's a developed quarterback for the league. I think that with him coming to State having the same kind of coaching stuff there as Wentz, I think he's going to be an option for San Francisco. I know San Francisco kind of been pulling for straws with their quarterbacks recently, since Kaepernick thing, which that's a different topic for another day because I feel like we talk about that forever. But
we definitely could.
But I feel like San Francisco is just trying to find a man. I think if Trey Lance can come out, hit him strong as a starting rookie, I think he's got the potential to be their go-to man.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that I have with Trey Lance, everything I've heard about him, everything I've seen is a poor man's Justin Fields. Him and Justin Fields play the game very similar. They're both big physical freaks. It's hard to take them down. The thing that concerns me is the whole level of play.
Yeah.
You did play FCS, so there's a steeper learning curve to get at that speed because everyone talks about NFL 10 times faster than college football. Well, that's speaking of the D1, Ohio State, Clemson, Alabama, LSU, all those guys, right? So it's faster than that speed. So now the FBS is faster than the FCS. Now, North Dakota State, they are a powerhouse in the FCS. So I don't know exactly where they stand. Like, just Big Ten bias, I think Indiana would beat them. Okay, Indiana's middle of the road. I know Indiana had a good season last year, but they're middle of the road Big Ten team. Yep. I think they would beat them. So if Indiana's faster than North Dakota State and Ohio State is at least 10 times faster than Indiana, I mean, that is a steep learning curve.
Yeah.
So I think he'll struggle. I think he'll be fine. I think the physical ability, he will be fine. But again, you brought up Carson Wentz. In all honesty, I'm not a huge believer in Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it was the whole small dude from North Dakota coming out, showing out for Philly. If he doesn't get hurt, then do they win the Super Bowl? Is he a Super Bowl champ already? I don't know. I mean, I really don't know. Is the Philly special a thing? I mean, yeah. So I would be a little concerned. I don't want to compare him to Carson Wentz. I think he's better than Carson Wentz. Okay. I think Carson Wentz is overhyped. I think Trey will be better than him. It's just I'm worried about the speed. The change of speed is what I'm concerned about. In addition to that, he did not play last year. Yeah. He opted to sit out last year. So,
and I feel like that'll hurt him, especially if he got lazy at all while, riding the bench. I understand why he did it, to be healthy to go into the NFL. But I also think that could hurt him, just not seeing that in-game experience day in, day out every week. That's definitely going to be a struggle for him to get back into that just being able to play week in, week out at a higher speed too. Ideal situation sit out and watch a seasoned pro take that starting role, learn a year or two from them, and then take over that starting role. I just think with that jump from North Dakota State to the NFL, it's going to be a big struggle for him. But if he can take that in rookie season, come out and just like hit the ground running, dude, he's going to be disgusting. Like he will be the next, like Cam Newton. Like he's going to be a versatile, mobile, and pocket passing quarterback.
Well, he fits the scheme as well.
Yeah.
Like that's the whole, like Jimmy G. I don't know how much of a believer I am in Jimmy G. I think he's more of a system guy. I think that's why the Patriots got him in the first place. Him, Tom Brady, and Mac Jones, they're system guys. Okay. Yeah. Tom Brady, everyone's like, oh, well, Tampa Bay is not well, okay. Bruce Arians built that, like modified that offense to fit Tom Brady. But I mean, Trey Lance, when everybody was talking about, oh, the 49ers really like Trey Lance, Mac Jones, or Justin Fields. Well, I can tell you right now that it was Trey Lance or Justin Fields.
Yeah.
Right. It was Trey Lance or Justin Fields because those two fit the system that Shanahan wants to run out there.
Yeah.
Okay. Mac Jones does not fit that. So that was a complete lie. And then I truly believe you had the Bears or somebody else, maybe even the Patriots, saying, oh, we hear that Justin's not that great in the locker room, not that great in the weight room. So then the 49ers were like, oh, well, we'll just go with Trey Lance. Yeah. Right? I do not believe that Trey Lance is better than Justin Fields. I think the Bears got to steal.
I need to see it.
I think the Bears got to steal with Justin Fields, but I think Trey Lance could be good. I think he will be better than Mac Jones because he's more athletic and has more ability.
Yeah, and that's if he can stay healthy, he is, just by looking at the stat sheet, I think he has what it takes to be one of the better dudes in the league. Like he's got what it takes to make it, but I don't think there's that big learning curve with coming from the FCS to the NFL. And that's going to be his biggest struggle. And if he can understand that jump and just run with the 49ers offense, he's going to do great things. I don't know if they'll be contenders this year. Definitely going to be a learning year. But I'd say if everything goes like he comes in, takes the bull by the horns and is going and no one can stop him, next season, 49ers champ, at least divisional champs. I could see it.
Yeah, it's just you got to go through Russell Wilson.
But Russell Wilson's getting old. I'm not saying his game's sound, but he is getting old.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because it's crazy. Like he's been in the league so long. Like him and Aaron Rodgers have been in the league so long. It's like, wow, they actually are like kind of getting up there. But I think you're right. The 49ers, I don't expect anything from them this year. I think this is a learning year. Yeah. If Jimmy G comes out and balls out, good for you. I think he'll be a contender. But right now, I think this is more we have a guy who needs to learn for a year or two in our system who fits our system. Yeah. And so they're now looking towards the future. So I would not be surprised if Jimmy G gets traded at some point this season. That he might be on the trade block.
I could see him getting traded. I don't think it'd be a smart move for him, though.
No, I don't think it would be a smart move, but I could see it happening. Yeah. Just with how everything, as we said, everything is a win now. Everything's a develop now. It's nobody wants to wait anymore. Yeah. So that's the only reason why I could see that happening. I don't think it will, but I could see it happening. Especially depending on what injuries occur to other teams, this year. But I will say, I think Justin Fields, Trey Lance, most comparable. Justin's better. But I do think both of them are better than the next guy we'll talk about. and good old Sam Wilson. Well, BYU quarterback in the
Zach
Jets.
Wilson?
Oh, whatever. I don't care.
I don't care. Wait, I don't have this on the schedule. Who is this guy?
Sorry. Sam Darnold. I just mixed the two. That just shows you how much I don't care about him.
Yeah. No, BYU. Let's just start there. BYU. The only thing I know BYU for is the Key and Peele skit where he's like Dan Smith, BYU at the end. That's literally the only football reference I understand from BYU. I'm sorry,
man.
no offense to BYU people. No offense
I'm pretty
to
sure
your fans.
they have a national championship. I'm pretty sure.
I mean, how recent? How recent?
I'm looking it up now.
Because yeah, that's the only thing I think about when I hear BYU. Literally, like I've had people say, "Oh, like yeah, I'm going to BYU in the fall," and I'm just like, "Oh, you're gonna hang out with Dan Smith?" And they're like, "What?" I'm like, "Oh, okay, never mind." That's the only thing I think about. But I mean,
if they're going to BYU, they can't have coffee. Just saying.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm serious. That's an actual thing. You can't have caffeine. So what I know about BYU, very religious Mormon community. Yeah. You can't have caffeine. If they find out that you've had caffeine, you can get expelled from the school. Okay.
Is this just for athletics or is this for everyone?
I'm pretty sure this is everything. On top of that, if you have a visitor in your dorm and they're of the opposite sex, their feet cannot leave the floor the entire time they're in your room. And your door must be open. That is what I was told by somebody that went there. Okay. If there's listeners out there who actually go to BYU or went to BYU, please enlighten us. Yeah. But that is what I was told from somebody that went to BYU. Speaking of them, it was a controversial national champion in 1984. So they went an undefeated 13-0. Pollsters gave the national championship title to them, but I guess people did not like that. So it's controversial, but they do have a national championship in football.
But back in the 80s, though?
84.
84. I mean, that's a throwback. Since then, though, I don't, at least in my existence, I've never.
They're irrelevant.
I don't remember BYU in the top 25. Sorry.
They were last year.
Yeah, I mean last year, but like before that, don't see them.
They're irrelevant in regard to actual championship contenders as well as good professional prospects.
Yeah.
I'll break this down. I do not think Zach Wilson, okay, someone who I love the memes that said Zach Wilson looks like he should be playing Zach Wilson in a Disney Channel movie. Okay, cracks me up. But next, Troy Bolton. Okay, mark my words. Disney Plus in 3 years, it will be something like High School Musical Football Edition or whatever. They'll play. It'll be Zach Wilson. Okay,
next, I can see it.
Troy Bolton.
I can see it.
So I should have kept this up, but I need to see their schedule because last time I checked, they played one ranked opponent last year, and it was Coastal Carolina, and they lost. Okay, and that was the whole Mullets versus Mormon game down in Conway. Only about 2 hours from me now. Coastal Carolina, the Chanticleers, the teal chickens.
Yeah, that's one that's kind of been coming up in the I'd say past 2 years or so.
I love it.
I was like, all right, I like this. I like when I see underdogs coming into the top 25, teams that you don't really hear from. That's like absolutely something that I like to see.
Like Liberty. Liberty's good. Liberty, Coastal Carolina. That's a great game. Sign me up for that.
I've been following Coastal a little bit. I won't say I've been die hard into them. I'll check out their games from time to time. I think they're an interesting team to watch. But if BYU can't beat them, or at least let me, I don't remember what the score was for this game because I think I remember watching part of it.
I could have sworn, I'm looking at it, and I could have sworn that they played Coastal Carolina. Like they did because it was Moles.
Yeah.
Why is it not on here?
It was December 5th. Coastal Carolina was ranked 12. BYU was 16. It was 22-17. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's weird. This is not on their list right. So what I have for last year is they opened with Navy. Okay, I love the military academies, but Navy is not what they used to be like 2 years ago. Okay, yeah. They're not great. I enjoy Navy football when they're good because they make those AAC games so entertaining. Like, but you open with Navy and then you play Troy and then La Tech, UTSA, Houston, who's not what they used to be, Texas State, Western Kentucky, Boise State, who's not what they used to be, and Northern Alabama. And then you played Coastal Carolina. I'm sorry, that schedule is awful. Not that great.
Yeah.
And I understand COVID, so like, because they're independent, they can only play so many teams. But that's what frustrates me is like, okay, Zach Wilson did not have control over the schedule. He put up good numbers. But if you give me Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Trey Lance, or Mac Jones and put him against those teams, they're going to dwarf his numbers.
Yeah.
Like I'm sorry, just watching him, I do not believe it. I think the Jets taking him number 2 is the Jets being the Jets. All right.
I'm sorry to any Jets fans out there, but you just make decisions like the Browns.
Worse.
I'm not going to say worse or better because the Browns have made some very what the fuck kind of like picks. I'm just like, okay, I have no idea what you guys are doing, but you guys got something boiling. I'm just going to run with it, let it go. And I don't know. The Jets are bad. Like, that's just what it is. Like, they're picking up a quarterback that I think no one else would pick. No, it was their only option, really. Like,
that's the reality is that if the Jets did not pick Zach Wilson, number 2 overall, the 49ers were not going to pick him. Okay, the 49ers, as we said, they were going to pick Justin Fields or Trey Lance, whichever one was available. Yeah. And it just happened that both of them were available, and they went with the one that they were more comfortable with. Okay, that was Trey Lance, whatever. But you're like, if the Jets don't pick Zach Wilson, he falls past the 49ers. The Bears are not going to trade up for Zach Wilson because guess what? They traded up for Mitch Trubisky, which was a very controversial pick in the first round. So they're not going to do that again. Okay. Them trading up, it was going to be for whatever reason, if Trevor Lawrence fell or if Justin Fields fell. And the Patriots, Belichick's not going to deal with someone like Zach Wilson. Okay. Yeah. So we're talking about Zach Wilson would have gone past pick number 15.
Oh yeah. I don't think he goes first round. Honestly. I don't see him going first round.
The whole hype train with him was ESPN making a narrative for him.
Yeah.
Okay. That is the reality, is that he got stardom when ESPN said, oh, well, we need a dark horse quarterback. It happens every single year. Mark my words, watch this season, come next draft, there's going to be somebody that everyone's like, I mean, he looks good, but he's nothing special. And ESPN's going to make him into a first round pick because some team, for whatever reason, is going to need a new quarterback. But he is going to be thrown into the fire, thrown right into the wolves with the Jets, who I believe just got a new coach. But
games here. Let's see.
But it's an organization that just ruined Sam Darnold. Like, Sam Darnold was not great coming out of USC.
But he wasn't bad. Like, from what I remember with him, he was he gave off kind of a I'm not going to be your great franchise quarterback. I'm going to be a good backup. Like
he gave off the vibe of Andy Dalton and Blake Bortles. I can be a good, serviceable quarterback. I'm not going to be an Aaron Rodgers. I'm not going to be a Tom Brady. I'm not going to be a Peyton Manning. Like, but you didn't need him to be. If he was a good quarterback and you built around him, he would have been fine. Okay. I think that he was overhyped coming out of USC, partially because nobody's talked about his turnover. Okay. The amount of turnovers he had at USC, Ohio State forced him to make 4 in the bowl game. Okay. But you ruined him. Like, I hope he goes to Carolina and balls out, because you made him look like such a bad quarterback, and he had one bad game and you lost all faith in him. Yeah. Which
I don't think you can do to a quarterback, because like,
not when they're that young.
Yeah. Right. You're throwing he was 22, 23-year-old kid with a bunch of, hey, I'm 28, 30 years old. I'm coming to wreck your shit. Like, it's a different mentality going in. Like, you know, I'm not saying I know what it's like to join the league. I don't. I'm garbage at football. Like, I watch it, and that's where I just like it. Yeah, you know, and we can make all the critiques that we want. Oh, if this was different, if this would happen. If this was different, this would happen. And that's the one thing I like about football is, like, you don't really know what's going to happen each game. Like, it's kind of a coin toss on who's going to win the game. Like, unless you got like BYU, Ohio State, like, that's like, all right, I know what team I'm putting my money on, you know?
You know what I wanted to see? I want to see Alabama say, BYU, come play us for an exhibition game. Okay. Just so we can put everybody in their place. Okay.
Yeah. I'd like to see it. I mean, it would be a blowout, of course, but like, I just don't understand. Like, the media brought up BYU to kind of hype them. Like, if that didn't happen,
hype them because their average margin of victory was like 30 plus points, and it's like, well, you're playing teams who are barely FBS level. Okay, you're playing teams that North Dakota State can beat.
Yeah, and so, that's the thing. Like, you can't hype up that kind of I mean, you can. Like, yeah, it's probably a great game to watch. You know, with the caliber teams that they're playing. Probably a good game to watch. You know, sometimes it's nice to see a blowout, but then when you go to play a 12th ranked Coastal Carolina, yes, they are higher than you in the FBS ratings, but they're not a team that's gonna like rock your shit. You know, they're not like an Alabama or a Ohio State or a Clemson. They're not a top dog.
They're not the cream of the crop. You're getting
blown. It was a 5-point game. 5-point game, 22-17.
It was a 5-point game, and if I remember correctly, it was a pick at the end to seal the game.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. There was more hype around you. Like, if you're Zach Wilson, there was more hype around you and BYU than there was about Coastal Carolina. Everybody thought, even though it was 12 versus 16, I think you said, even though BYU was below them, everybody expected BYU to win.
Yeah. But I think that's the media's portrayal of the team being better than they are. Like, when you take a quarterback and you're like, oh, I need to create a dark horse kind of player for the draft coming up, you know, and you pick Zach Wilson, it's not the best option for the team. I don't know. It's when you do that, you put a lot of pressure on that team. So this instance, BYU, and they're just not that good of a team. Like, last championship is in 84, and it's disputed whether they should have gotten it or not. So, like, why are you putting that extra hype on a quarterback that doesn't really need it? Where I bet if you go to like a middle of the road school, more like Indiana or Texas Tech, even A&M, you could probably find a better option than Zach Wilson. Like, I don't see him being a top. I don't see him be like, he looks good in college. Yes. But he also
played nobody.
Yeah. You're not playing anyone good. And it goes into the dispute with similar to, what's his name? Trey Lance, you know, with him coming in, he is used to playing those smaller schools, you know, for Zach Wilson, he looked all right. Yeah, he is playing FBS, but he's
not playing. He plays zero Power 5. That's the big thing. He plays zero Power 5 schools. And so the thing is, he's going to struggle, as all rookies are going to struggle. Okay. But I just think he is set up for failure because expectations are so high for him. Unrealistic expectations. Yeah. The dude is not the second best quarterback in the draft. And one guy who I came to like after watching the season evolve and everything, Kyle Trask. Okay. He's not on our list, but I think he's going to be better than Zach Wilson in the long run. Okay. Florida quarterback who is now with Tom Brady down in Tampa Bay. And the level of play that he played against every single week is at least 10 times, if not 50 times, better than what Zach Wilson. He learned more. He went head to head with Mac Jones. Okay. He will be better in the league than Zach Wilson will. And you know, if Zach Wilson balls out and proves me wrong, cool, you're a millionaire. I'm not. It doesn't really change our lives. Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, he's definitely, and I'm just going to make a small prediction here. I'd say if Zach Wilson does blow up, there's like a 15% chance he does. If that doesn't happen, he's going to collect his first paycheck and then practice squad or be out of the league. I don't see him being anything in the league, really.
Well, he's guaranteed 4 years, so he's got 4 years of multi-million dollars, so he'll be fine.
I mean, just look at Ohio State quarterback Troy Smith. Came into the league, got drafted by the Ravens, I want to say. Played with them. A great quarterback at Ohio State. You know,
Heisman Trophy winner.
Yeah, came to the league. Just couldn't really produce. I believe he got hurt at some point.
He got hurt, but also, I mean, you're talking
backing up Flacco, though.
Good old Joe. Oh, God,
I mean,
he's still in the league. He's still in the league.
I mean, he's an
above average. He's an above average quarterback.
It's like Andy Dalton. Joe. Like, Joe can play in the tournament. I think Joe is that separating factor between like an Andy Dalton and a Cam Newton, someone who can, you know, play in the big games. He's a
Super Bowl champ.
Yeah, exactly.
He beat Colin Kaepernick. He beat the Colin Kaepernick.
The dude.
The Colin Kaepernick. But, I mean, the unrealistic expectations, Zach Wilson's going to be in the league for maybe a decade at max. I think he's not going to be what all the analysts are saying he could be. It's not going to happen. But also, I think this shows. Now, this might just be his agent trying to get more money, but the dude showed up to training camp late because there was a dispute about his signing bonus. Dude, you're the second highest paid player from this draft. Okay, because you were drafted second overall.
Yeah.
Take your money and run, because everybody knows you're not the second best player in the draft. Okay, you don't deserve that money. So just take it and run. Don't be saying, no, I want more. Are you if I was the Jets, I'd be like, well, this kind of sucks because we owe him money. We drafted him. We wasted a pick. But like, this dude thinks that he's worth even more.
He's not. Like, unless if he comes out this season and has been roiding and just been hitting the frickin' field. Like, he needs to have just like been I've been practicing with Tom Brady. He needs something to get him his feet wet. He cannot come out and be a starting quarterback for them. He just is not ready. Like, he at least needs like 2 years to sit the bench. And then maybe he might be good enough. Yeah.
No. But it can't happen in New York because the Jets are a shit show as a JETS, Jets, whatever. But but I love how like social media is gonna be blown up today because he beat my Packers and he played well and everything. And it's just like, it's preseason. Do people realize that like half of the Packers starters? Well, and on top of that, half the Packers starters are wearing a hoodie and shorts on the sideline.
Yeah, their second round team is pretty like I've noticed this with like the Packers and like the Vikings. Their starters pretty just chill. They are not playing, and then you get mainly your third team and second team. Third team's going to start the game. At least kind of from what I've noticed in the games that I've checked in on, they seem to start their third team. And then if it starts going bad, they'll bring in some second round or some second team players. But first, you just not see the field.
Well, they're trying to figure out those cuts. You know, they're trying to figure out those cuts, so they're going to play the guys who are on the bubble a lot more.
Yeah.
So that's the whole thing. Is all these rookie quarterbacks they're not going to be seeing the first string. They're not going to be seeing the second string that long. They're just in there to get reads and feel it out. So when it's Zach Wilson goes nearly perfect in his first rookie preseason game, it's okay, cool. Doesn't translate at all. Okay.
Yeah.
Justin Fields, played amazing his first one, and then yesterday he didn't do great. Okay. Again, it's preseason, and Zach Wilson might be playing with some first string guys who are young, because when you have your projected starting quarterback playing, you want some first string guys in there so the chemistry blooms. Okay, Justin Fields isn't playing with the first string guys because Andy Dalton's the quarterback.
Yeah.
So it's just preseason. I really hate when people are like, "Oh man, we looked amazing in preseason." Like everybody's dogging the Cowboys already. 0-2. It's like, you do realize
the Cowboys are still going to whip your shit in the actual season. Like,
well, here's the thing: the last time that the Cowboys won the Super Bowl, if I am remembering correctly, they went 0-4 in preseason. Okay, so preseason doesn't mean
that ring. Where that ring at?
So preseason doesn't mean anything. So I mean, the whole thing with Zach Wilson is, I don't like him. I don't believe in him. Okay, that's just me. I think he's going to be a bust. I think it's just the Jets are going to be the next Browns, because in like 2 years they're going to draft another quarterback and ruin somebody else's life.
Yeah.
So,
all right, prediction here. I see the Jets being the Bears. Like quarterback killer. I can see the Jets just become.
I was like, what? I thought you said they were beating the Bears, not being.
Oh, no. Yeah, the Jets, as much as I'm bashing, as much as we're like kind of hating on Zach, like he's making millions, way more money than we are. He made it to the league. Like, congratulations, dude. Like,
good for you.
You're playing at a level where someone recognized you.
You're playing at a level that less than 1% of our population can.
Exactly.
Okay, that's the truth.
Yeah. And
so congrats.
As much as we've been hating on him, I think, kudos to you. You made it to the league. Prove us wrong. If you I don't see it. So he's going to be like your paycheck, and then I just hasn't played college team play. I mean, for he's going to play in college. She's got the high jump. I just don't think you is prepared him for being a quarterback to be able to take a lead. And I mean, with that being said, kudos to you proving I'm ready to move on. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about dude. Let's move on, dude. She got anything to down.
No, you know what I think of Zach.
I'm going to talk about the man, the legend, Trevor.
I still don't like him. I still don't like him. Cut your hair.
I mean, I don't like him, but dude, it's nasty.
I'm still mad about that loss 2 years ago. Some bull.
It hurt. I cried for hours after that. All right.
I didn't cry. I was pissed. Okay, you can talk to me. I will never believe that was not rigged. I'm sorry. He took 4 steps with possession of the ball. That is a catch. How is that not a catch? Because you're running backwards. Where in the rules? Show me in the rules that running backwards means it's not a catch. Because, oh my gosh, so many people will do that now. But no. Yeah. Okay. But moving on. Trevor Lawrence. He's good.
Yeah. I mean, he's the overall number 1 quarterback coming in for a reason. And I think it's a good fit kind of with Jacksonville. I mean, you are coming in, you have your head coach, Urban Meyer. And so he's going to kind of be building a team. Whether that takes 1 season or a couple seasons after that, I think Trevor Lawrence is going to be that franchise quarterback you're going to want to build your team around. He's shown he is a dog. He is a dog that ain't afraid to take what his and eat. We see it with Clemson. Dude, his numbers, I'm pretty sure I need to see this. His numbers at Clemson are disgusting.
Also, okay, before we get into this, I want you to realize and take note that
ACC
is exactly that's the issue. Okay, it's the ACC. Okay, this last year I love to see North Carolina up there. North Carolina was great this last year. It's good for the conference. It's good for ACC. But Florida State is trash now. Okay, Miami is not anywhere close to what they used to be. Pittsburgh. Okay, they had a couple years where it was like, oh, Pitt, you're coming back, and no, they're gone. Okay. They don't play anybody. Now, the level of play is a whole lot better than BYU's. Okay?
Very true.
They don't play anybody. And the thing that I think Trevor Lawrence will be amazing in the league, okay?
Yeah.
Part of me wants him to fail, but that's because he won't, okay? He's too good and he's too smart to fail. But
the only way I see him failing is if he gets hurt.
Yeah, and nobody wants that, okay? Nobody wishes injury upon anybody.
Yeah, exactly.
The part of me that wants him to fail is the small, annoyed, and still mad. Yes. He didn't destroy us, but yeah, he beat us, and I'm like, okay. But the hesitation I have with him is that when he went up against the Alabamas and the LSUs and the Ohio States, when you look at the last 2 years, I know like he was a freshman, he won a national championship. So like you're starting hot. Okay. But the last 2 years, when he went up against Ohio State those 2 times, and when he went up against LSU, who had a really good secondary, okay, he struggled mightily. And so especially 2 years ago, that Ohio State defense, I don't care what people say, that was the best defense in the nation. Okay.
I agree.
Chase Young leading the charge. You had 3 top or first round DB. Like it was stupid.
Yeah.
It was 3 top or first round because Chase Young, Jeff Okudah, and Damon Arnett slipped in there at the end. But even Jordan Fuller got drafted later. The secondary was ridiculous. The linebacker core was amazing. Only Malik Harrison. Malik Hooker is now on the Cowboys. Malik Harrison left, went to the Ravens. And then all the other linebackers came back last year. So the Ohio State defense the last 2 years were ridiculously good with NFL talent. Yeah. 2 years ago, the LSU defense, that secondary, ridiculously good with NFL talent. He struggled. Okay. That's the speed he's going to see times at least 5 with every other player on the field. Yeah. And with you said, it's a building franchise. So I don't expect him to be great this year. I expect in 5 years, it should be talking about like, oh, look, he finally like developed. And it's like, no, he didn't finally develop. He finally got the team, Yeah. But that's my only concern is that when he played good talent in college, it was a little iffy.
But I think that could also be due to him just not playing that consistently during the weeks.
Hey, you're not seeing that
ACC conference. You're not seeing that high caliber as often. Granted, some years you're going to see a couple teams come in and they're going to be dogs. They're going to be, hey, we're in the ACC, but we're here to play. North Carolina, a great example. They've always kind of been on my radar. They're always top 25.
They're sneaky.
Yeah,
they're sneaky.
They will sneak up. You won't hear about them for a couple weeks, and next thing you know, North Carolina, number 8, and you're like, wait,
watch it. What? Their quarterback's gonna be first overall pick this coming draft.
Okay, making some big predictions. All right, let's see how he plays.
I think it'll be good.
But
Sam Howell.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. I just see like their highlights and like I'll tune into like a game from time to time, bits of it, but they're dogs. Like, I think the ACC, very spread between teams. Who it's those guys that they pick up 5-star recruits in high school, 4-star recruits that just in college just show, hey, I'm next caliber. And you see that coming in once they hit the field and they get their starting job. You know who you're picking up.
Well, it's also like it's that stereotype in like high school. It's like, if Darby has his 5-star receiver, we got to lock him down. I feel like with the ACC, with teams, they have 1 or 2 guys where you're like, we need to stop him. And if you stop him, you have a good chance. But when you play in the Big Ten and the SEC, it's okay. They got 5 guys. Who do you want to try to slow down?
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, with Clemson, he had all the options as like wide receivers go. He
set up well at Jacksonville. Okay, he set up well. The big thing is the line.
Yeah. If they can get a good offensive line that can get him the time coming in as a rookie, which I think he'll definitely need, considering Clemson's line was pretty good to him. They gave him a good amount of time.
Yeah. He didn't die. So.
Yeah, he's alive still, so he's doing pretty good. But with, his stats, just like I'm just looking at him right now, and I just have
they're stupid. They're stupid.
Freshman year coming in 2018, 4
beating
interceptions.
out Kelly 4
interceptions.
Okay.
Name another rookie quarterback in college that comes in as a true freshman, puts up only 4 interceptions. And I think that's the main thing to watch. Any turnovers is going to be the main thing to watch with quarterbacks going into the league. And from his 3 years with Clemson, 2018 to 2020, he's got 17 interceptions.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous.
It's nasty.
But it is also, you have to realize that those ACC, not as good as secondary. Okay, so you take it with a grain of salt, but it is also, okay, it appears
it looks good.
He takes care of the ball. It appears that he's really smart with it, which I think he is. It's just we'll see how it translates when you have ball hawk safeties. In the NFL, like when they really can read your eyes, when they're wearing that smoke visor, so you have no idea where they're looking. I mean, if I'm a quarterback, I'd almost do that so you can't read my eyes.
Yeah.
I'd almost wear a visor where it's like,
I just don't want you to see.
Yeah.
Like that needs to be. I don't want to. I'm kind of against having those visors, but I also am like, they're kind of needed.
So cool.
They do look sweet. But, when it comes down to it, like, that's one thing. Like, if we give Lawrence a visor like that and you can't see his eyes, I think it will give him an advantage against some of those ball hawk safeties they're able to watch people's eyes. They've been in the league so long and they're just that talented. They know what they're looking for. I don't think it's going to help him as much because a lot of it's going to be being able to run from the defensive line and the linebacking core just coming in and wrecking your shit.
He's not going to have enough time to telegraph a pass.
That's going to be the biggest thing. He's going to be getting the ball off quick. From what I've seen, Jacksonville line, very hit or miss. I don't think
it's the next Cincinnati.
He needs that time. He needs that time in the pocket, and if that can be created for him, I think he's going to be good. I don't think he's going to be great yet. I think it's just coming in first year, learning the offense and getting transitioned into becoming a franchise quarterback, which I think he will be. Just because he has the talent. He showed that in school, granted ACC, but I think he's set up to be a franchise quarterback in the NFL due to him having that experience with playing Alabama and Ohio State and a lot of those other top dogs and being a top dog.
Yeah. I mean, I think the big question is he will be good.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. As long as he doesn't get injured, he will be good. The question is, do you sit him this year? Because we're talking about the line. Okay. We saw this last year with Joe Burrow. Okay. Joe Burrow might not be. I really hope that he ends up being what we all thought he could be.
Yeah.
Okay. Especially when he was at Ohio State. I think there were a lot of us that were like, Dwayne Haskins over Joe Burrow. I think it really just came down. It just came down to you have two really good quarterbacks. And one of them, you can't play both. But yeah, I really hope Joe Burrow continues to be the person that we think that he can be even after injury. But learning from that, you have a franchise guy in Trevor Lawrence. Okay, he is your future. You're not banking on drafting another quarterback for another decade. Okay. Do you sit him his rookie year in order to build an offensive line? Because you don't want him to get hurt.
I'm just seeing who they got. So they got Trevor Lawrence.
Gardner Minshew's their backup.
Beathard and Jacob.
CJ's there? CJ? Yeah. Dude, he was at Iowa. He was the Iowa quarterback. He was when we went into I think it's Hawkeye State. I don't know what it's called, with the pink locker room, and they beat us like 42-20 something. He was their quarterback. He's going to be a league guy that just jumps around and gets a paycheck every week.
Yeah. That's honestly a tough question though, whether you sit him or not, just because I want to just see him thrown in and just see what he does. And I think that's what a lot of Jacksonville wants to see. You spent the first round pick on him. Let's see what he's got. But in order to develop him as that franchise quarterback, I wouldn't say the first year.
He needs to stay healthy in order to develop.
Yeah, he does.
That's the thing. Oh, and that's the whole issue with all this is that, like, as a coaching staff, as a fan base, as football fans, we want to see him play. But also you're like, this dude gets injured.
They're done.
Yeah, well, it's not only they're done, but he could, depending on the injury. So although it would look bad, I feel like you have to play Gardner Minshew until your offensive line proves that they can actually block. Okay. Yeah. I think if you use this year, everybody knows that this year they're not expecting anything. So this year it's going to be, again, a big learning, big developing year. And you almost have to play with the idea of let's play Gardner Minshew to save Trevor's future. And then in 2 or 3 years, go hard once we get it aligned.
Yeah. I think that'll probably be the best thing. As much as I do want to see Trevor in the first season out, I think he could handle what's going on. But the whole Joe Burrow situation is kind of in my mind with that. He has what it takes, but I think sitting him, I'd say at least the first half, just to kind of get his feet wet, like run the other quarterback as the starting, run Gardner Minshew.
Yeah, Gardner's their number 2. So CJ's on their roster, but Gardner's their number 2. He was a starter last year.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, I'd run him at least first half of the season and then give Trevor snaps here and there. You know, I know that's not an ideal situation for Jacksonville as far as like trying to win games. But if you're going to take this year and be a developmental year, I think that would probably be the best for getting them set up for the year after and years to come. Just not throwing him in the deep end, letting him develop more off the field and just being able to see the field and understanding everything going on. That way he can stay healthy. And then, you know, next year, if he's healthy and shows that, hey, I'm ready for this starting position, I'd say give it to him. You know, I think he deserves it this year, but I do think that if he's going to be that franchise quarterback, I think you do need to give him some time to develop into what you want him to be, and give him some time to understand what's going on the field and just kind of dip his feet in, you know, have him take a few snaps. And then from there, if he shows like on the snaps he is taking that he is like just annihilating everyone, then dude, give him that starting job. But I think he needs a year, if we're being honest, a year to a half a year from being starting.
Well, and that's what, you know, all the Jacksonville fans want to see him succeed now. They want to see him play now. But you also have to look at, you were just the number 1 overall pick. Okay. Y'all sucked last year. Y'all still suck. Okay. You're not winning a championship right now. So you got to learn. Okay.
Yeah.
But keeping with Jacksonville, I think we're both in agreement that Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields probably have the highest ceilings of all the quarterbacks that we talked about. But keeping with Jacksonville, Timothy Tebow.
Dude.
Unfortunately, as some of you might know, he was cut this week. Right? He did not make the Jags roster. I think they still have one more game, so they still have time to cut more people down. But Timothy Tebow will not be a tight end for the Jacksonville Jaguars this coming season. What is your take?
I'm honestly not surprised. I think he's just been in the league way too long, and he's just not. He's a great athlete. Don't get me wrong, great athlete. But when you go from being a star quarterback at Florida, and not being the most traditional quarterback, someone that not a lot of teams are going to be looking for in the NFL, and I know a lot of it was based on how he threw the ball. He was wasting a lot of time because he would do like a windmill throw, and he would throw. And then I think he tried to be a wide receiver at one point. They tried to transition him over, and then that just didn't go well, right?
So he was asked to change positions, and he said no.
And then he went and played baseball, right?
Yeah, so he was with the Broncos. He played a little bit with the Jets. He was asked at the Jets to transition to linebacker or fullback. And he said no. He was a quarterback. So then he retired because nobody wanted him. Did a couple years with ESPN, the SEC network, and then said, you know what? I want to play baseball. So he tried out for the Mets. The Mets took him. He was on there. He went to single A, went to double A. He was actually rumored to be on their triple A team this year. And then when Urban Meyer came out of retirement, he said, I'm going to go play football again.
Yeah. And I mean, as much as I would like to see the Urban Tebow duo back at it again.
In Duval County, down in Florida.
I know. That would have been so perfect. But I understand where the league is at. And Tebow isn't, considering he has been training, it's a baseball training schedule, which is a lot different than a football training schedule. I mean, I'm assuming, you're going to be working different muscle groups, and, at football, it's going to be a little more intense. I feel like, as far as, your conditioning and just hitting the weight room and getting those reps in. And he's just been out too long. I think a lot. That's what it comes down to. Yeah, he signed that contract. It would have been great, and I would have loved to see it or seen it. But it's just not there. And it kind of makes me sad. I'm not even going to lie about that. But I think it would be great if he was able to come back and be that starting guy for. Well, he'd be playing tight end, which, I mean, I don't think he's enough to like. He knows like those weird like he's big, he's an athlete, he can throw the ball, not the best, but he can throw it. And he's just an athlete.
It can happen.
He's just an athlete. He's a glorified athlete, and I think whatever he decides to do, I think he'll make it back into the NFL after this. I think this was a last-ditch effort, and if he was going to get in, Urban would have given it to him. But Urban didn't see him as a compatible player with the team he's currently building. So it's worth just getting rid of him, letting him go back to, well, I don't think he can go back to baseball unless if someone just has to pick him up. But
I don't see that happening.
I don't see him getting picked up. I think at this point, you say, I'm done with athletics, at least the actual playing part, and then move into, being a sports guy, just being the announcer, being one of the casters on College Game Day or SEC Network. Fine, so there. He's got the personality, he's got the following to be one of those people and be good at it. He understands sports. He understands the whole college football process. Even if he's just, going into like a school and being like a quarterback coach or some kind of like coach like that, I could see him doing something like that. I don't think he'd be necessarily the best quarterback coach, but I could see him doing some kind of coaching at like a smaller like college. Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, he has so many doors open.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, he can do whatever he wants. I do think he's not done yet. Okay.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, well, here's the thing. Like you said, he was in baseball shape. It is really hard to go from MLB shape to NFL shape.
Yeah.
With that quick turnaround. He was preparing for spring training, and then Urban Meyer, right before the draft, comes out and says, I'm going to, I want to coach Jacksonville. And so Tebow goes, I'm going to go do that. And you're telling me he was in outfield shape. The dude's a monster, okay?
Yeah.
But going from outfield shape where you're jacked to tight end shape when you're already undersized as is, because I think he's 6'3".
Yeah, he's like not crazy tall, but he's got some size to him.
He's slightly undersized. He's almost like a fullback tight end hybrid, which personally is why I was like, I kind of hope he makes it just to see what packages they would throw out there with him. Yeah. I think he adds a depth to and a dimension to your playbook that defenses don't know what to do with. But exactly. The issue is his blocking was awful.
Yeah.
Okay. So he became a liability. So it's like, yes, he is very athletic, but he's not there. Okay. Yeah. I think that was, he didn't have enough time to train to be a tight end fullback hybrid. So what I think he's going to do is he's going to go back to his nice job being a commentator. Okay. With ESPN. But I think he might take this entire year to train to become an NFL tight end, and then go round 2. Why not? If he trains an entire year, he might physically be ready to be a tight end at the next level. And, if it doesn't happen then I think he might hang him up for good.
Yeah, and that's kind of, I mean, he's an athlete. And when you're going into the NFL, I think if there was some way he could go back play in college, and then come back to NFL, I think that would be perfect for him. So then he can develop for a year as a tight end / fullback / auxiliary player. I think
a bigger Taysom Hill is what he is.
Yeah, but I think bringing him onto the team, he would add it'd almost be like its own package. When he was on the field, he adds just another option. He can run the ball, he can catch the ball, he can throw the ball if needed. So it gives you a lot of trick play options, but if you don't have the roster and the availability, it's not worth it. It does add that, he would be a changing factor for the league if he made it to the league and was that player. If he takes that year, develops as a tight end / fullback / auxiliary slot halfback, I think that'd be the best thing for him if he's still determined to be back in the league. However, he's getting old. And that's a big liability you're taking as a team. I think from here, he's going to have like a 1 year or 2 year contract at most if he gets picked up next season. But that's really it. He's one of those people where I feel like he's an athlete and he could be good wherever you put him. He's not going to be the best, but he'll play the position, play his heart out, and let's recreate the bloody jersey. Let's do it. I want to see it. I want to see Tebow in the league. Bloody jersey, ready to go. That was probably one of the most iconic images that is just ingrained in my head when it comes to Florida football. Is just Tim Tebow pumping the helmet, blood all over his jersey, and it's the whites too, that is just iconic in Florida football. As like that, if you don't think of that when you think of Florida football, I kind of like, wait, what? And that's not
I think of them beating the absolute snot out of Troy Smith and Ted Ginn and James Laurinaitis and making me cry.
That roster for Ohio State that year was so good.
Disgusting.
Stacked. And Tebow's just like, yeah, I don't give a shit. Get wrecked, idiot. And you're just like, okay, it's fine.
And then Urban Meyer comes and saves Ohio State.
Oh my God.
But no, I mean, here's the thing. If Tebow's I think Tebow has one last chance. I think he's got to train his ass off. I think he will. Okay. I think he's still determined. Because, looking at their roster, looking at the tight ends that they still have, you have a 7-year vet, a 6-year vet. Okay. Those guys are probably it's probably gonna be them. And then they just drafted Luke Farrell, who's really good out of Ohio State.
Yeah.
The other two guys are just 2-year guys. One's from Georgia Tech, one's from North Dakota State. So, who knows? And the life of a tight end isn't extremely long. So come next year, one of those vets might be gone. So there might be an opening. But the thing is, I think if he has a chance to get back to the NFL, like one more ride, it has to be with Jacksonville.
Yeah, there's no other team that it would work with. If it's not Tebow and Urban, it is not a team. He's going to go practice squad anywhere else he goes, because I feel like with Urban, he is going to show a little bit of favoritism toward Tebow. Granted, I don't think he is going to be like, oh, you're getting for sure the starting spot because he just got cut. He's going to have to earn that and show, hey, I can play at this rate still. I can still be that auxiliary player that you need when the situation comes. But right now, he's just not ready. He needs to work on that blocking. And I think if that works out, I think he's going to be play that season, play that second season, retire. They make a movie about it, and then he's a billionaire.
It's like the rookie, but with football.
But I think it should show his whole like story though, being from like his like high school championship his senior year. I believe he won that from that game through college, and then post college show that. I think that'd be a great movie.
Yeah, well, also,
I'd see that. It's so good.
Also, what I noticed is that they don't have a fullback listed on their roster, so they probably keep 4 tight ends. So that gives it even a better possibility. But also, I think just because of the story and the culture and it being in Florida, like if it's not Jacksonville, I don't want it.
Yeah, okay, exactly.
So it'll be interesting. I hope he doesn't give up just because of the guy he is. I always thought he was a great player. He won the Heisman. I'm just glad he didn't win 2 Heisman. I was really rooting against him because we got to keep Archie being the only one.
Baby.
But I hope he doesn't give up because I think he'd be really good. I'm selfish. I wish the position change happened sooner.
Yeah.
Because I think he would have been so good as a non-quarterback.
If he would have came out and said, I understand I'm not going to be a quarterback here. Like, I feel like
imagine him as a running back. Imagine him as a running back. Please. The next Peyton Hill is better than Peyton Hill.
Yeah. No, and if he would have came out of college with that mentality of, I'm not going to be an NFL quarterback. Granted, that's like his dream. That's what he wanted to be.
Dreams.
Yeah. Every kid in their front yard is like, I'm going to be an NFL quarterback. I'm going to be an NFL, whatever position they're digging. I feel like everyone starts at quarterback and then they're like, I don't actually like quarterback.
I don't like getting hit.
I get hit a lot. My head hurts. I'm seeing unicorns and shit. I don't know what's going on.
I've been concussed too many times to be a quarterback. Yeah.
If we're wrapping this up, I think I'd like to see him in Jacksonville 1 to 2 seasons, being an auxiliary tight end, slot receiver, fullback, halfback even. Like, he could play those positions and just be a wildcat player. I think that would be a cool scenario. And I want to see it happen. Tim, just grind that shit now. I want to see you and Urban. Just at least 1 season. That's all I ask. Please.
Jacksonville, Super Bowl champs. Timmy T.
I can see it.
That would be so cool though, because you're talking about a coach who has national championship and Super Bowl, and then a player who has a national championship and a Super Bowl. Like, that'd be so cool. Also, real quick before we move on to our next topic, though, I think it'd also be cool if Cam and Tebow ended up on the same team, though, because even though Cam, we all know him from Auburn, right? He went to Auburn. Urban Meyer recruited him, and he was at Florida for a year. That shows, even back then, before all of this statistical data and all of this like social media, Urban Meyer was that good of a recruiter to have Cam Newton and Timothy Tebow on the same team.
Not just to mention that, but then follows it up with the Jay Burrow and Justin Fields.
Oh my god! Like, dude is unreal.
Dude,
but
crazy. But moving on. Let's get to that. College players getting paid money for their likeness.
Oh yeah, name, image, and likeness. The thing that I like about name, image, and likeness is that it means a college football game is on the horizon. Okay, it's coming back.
I need
it. Like that is what I'm most excited about. The thing that doesn't really make sense to me is how people who haven't played a snap yet are making millions of dollars.
See, that I think we're running into a lot of problems. I think it's a good idea, but with it not really being regulated as far as like how much one can make from it, I think it's just making college sports going into the professionals a social thing. Like, it's not about really who's going to be the best player. I can see it getting skewed to being this person's got a lot of following in college. They're a high paid college athlete. And then they're moving to the pros and they might not be ready. I can see like the first couple years, like if a quarterback or like a running back, any position really, they have a big following with, I'm seeing like a lot of like barstool athletes and stuff like that, which I think is cool that, you know, you're getting paid for your likeness, you're getting ad revenue and stuff like that. That's cool. And that's like going toward like tuition if it's needed, or to your pocket if you're already on scholarship. Where I think we'll run into a lot of problems is people making a shit ton of money in college, making it to the pros and just not being there. I think that's going to be a big problem moving forward. Because you can be like a decent college athlete and then have like a crazy following on social media. And you're going to get paid for that. You know, that's cool. I think it's going to kind of ruin going to professional sports. I think it's going to become more of a who knows who. I mean, it's already like that, but it's going to become more relevant. Yeah, it's going to be more relevant. And we're going to see a lot of more busts if I'm going to make a prediction on that.
Yeah, but also I guess that kind of weeds out who really wants to be good at the next level. Yeah. So I think that there's a lot of aspects to it. The only thing that I don't like is the people making millions before they even play again, because I have no issue with them making money. I really don't. Okay. Like, I get that for some people, you know, they need that extra money. Now, the only thing that I will point out, okay, that not a lot of people talk about, their revenue before all of this was you had a free education. Okay. Yeah. So now I will point out it is football and basketball. Those were completely, you get full rides. Okay. Mm-hmm. Typically, if you're on scholarship, you're on a full ride. All the other sports, it's, you know, half at max, typically a quarter, a third. Yeah. Now, also those other sports tend to, not always, but tend to be smarter. So they pull the school GPA up. So they also get academic scholarships. Yeah. Because those typically are smarter individuals. So I think it's really cool for those people who aren't necessarily on full rides to make a little extra money and help with everything. But in regard to football and basketball players, I know this for a fact, okay? They get a full ride. If they're on scholarship, they're on a full ride, okay? With that full ride is all tuitions paid for. Yeah. Okay? Your schooling is paid for. Your meals are paid for. Okay? You get a meal plan. Typically, I know Ohio State football, they have dinner together every day. Okay? Yeah. So they're not even using a meal swipe. Your room and board is paid for, and you get a stipend every month. Okay. Yeah. Last time I heard it was Ohio State was getting $2,500. Each player was getting $2,500 a month for spending purposes. Yeah. So my only thing is they were getting paid before they were getting paid. You
exactly.
Know, like, you shouldn't, if you're playing at a Power 5 now, I know that non-Power 5, mid-major, they're different. FCS is different because they don't have as much money. Okay. They don't have as much as the Big Ten, the SEC, ACC, etc. But if you're at a Power 5 school, you shouldn't be low on money per month. Like, you're not paying that much. So again, I don't have an issue with them making money. I think it's cool. You know, they are doing a service. They are helping pay, you know, their millions of dollar contract coaches. Exactly. Okay. They're doing, they're doing, I'm getting distracted by Delilah. She's requiring all the pets.
Hey, hello.
They're doing a service, so they should get compensated in some regard. I just don't like the whole, you haven't proven yourself yet and you're getting millions.
Yeah. And I think it's so hard to see because we're in early stages, but I think moving forward, we are going to see a kind of a more, see people getting carried away with, oh, I'm making millions of dollars out of high school, playing college sports, going in, hoping to get to the league. But some of those athletes that have that dream, you know, they don't have that. They don't have what it takes to go to professional league, whatever sport it may be. But if they can get that following, it's nice to allow for them to make that money. You know, if they're not a basketball or football in a top school, and they're not getting that full ride, it's nice. You're going to be able to make some of that tuition money that you need to pay to be able to keep attending there. But then you're going to run into a lot of players who are on scholarship and they are making a ton of money on their likeness that are going to have millions of dollars. And I feel like that's going to get to a lot of people's heads just because you're getting a shit ton of money. He bolted.
She needed to go out. She kept calling me.
But I think we're going to run into a lot of problems with like financial literacy. And just knowing what to do with all this money you're bringing in, going from a high school. I know at least for me in high school, didn't really learn about like, oh, I'm making a lot of money. What can I do with this?
No, like, we didn't taught that at all.
I got learned how to balance a checkbook, and that's about it. Didn't learn about taking out loans or anything like that, and just kind of got thrown into, hey, welcome to being an adult. Figure it out. I mean, that's just like based on like, okay, you know, I feel like that's current like setup for schooling in America, at least in Hilliard. So like I'm sure it's everywhere, you know. I'm sure it's not just us. I'm sure it's a lot of schools out there, but especially going from, you know, being especially if you're coming from like a smaller town, or a lower income area, and then, you know, making all that money in college. Yeah, it's cool, it's nice, you're making a lot of money, but are you going to be setting yourself up for the future? You know, you don't make the league after you graduate. All right, you're a millionaire. Where's your money now? It's not there.
Yeah, well, and that's what, like, I hope these schools are then forcing their players to take a finance class where it's like, hey, don't just like, especially if you're a football or basketball player and you're on full ride, like, don't just use this as spending money. Like, put it away. Use it to buy some stuff. Okay, but also, like, if you're an Ohio State football player, you have so much stuff given to you. Yeah. And that's how, like, it is with, like, every Power 5 school. So, like, take some of it, you know, spend. I don't want any of these players to now excel the process of filing for bankruptcy after your playing career is over.
Yeah. And plus, filing for bankruptcy at 21, 22 years old when you're coming out of college, that hurts. Your credit score, trying to get a house, dude, good luck. Good luck.
Yeah.
Like, that's what a lot of financings ran on. Unless if you can, like, somehow turn it around and just use your likeness. But you got to think, after your playing days in college,
you're not going to get paid.
Yeah, you're not going to get paid unless if you have like something outside of college. Like, I've seen what's his name, Adventure Athlete, popular YouTube channel on YouTube. Yeah, but he's like a D3 quarterback. Yeah, shout out Adventure Athlete. Love your shit, dude. But he's
sponsor us.
Sponsor us. But he's a D3 quarterback, or he might be JUCO. I believe it's out of like California or something like that. It's been a minute. He's graduated and plays overseas. But he had a YouTube channel where he was just like, hey, what's up, guys? Here's a day in the life of what I do every day as a D3 college athlete. And then he also had other projects, like he was working on like a football glove to help with catching a more quarterback, like NFL pro style, like speed, like catch, for people who don't have the hands to catch that ball. And he had his YouTube channel, and you're making ad revenue on that, and stuff like that, which is like great. But he's also coming from a D3 school in which you're getting very little to no like financial help from the school.
It's only academic scholarships for D3.
Yeah, and if you can get that, that's great. That helps pay for a lot of your schooling. But even after he's graduated, he still has a following just because he is showing what it's like graduating and not taking the typical path. He went, and I think he plays in like, I forget where he's at, but he's playing like over there, being like almost money. But his YouTube channel to grow the idea of you don't have to play cool. And it's a great opportunity for anyone. But not everyone is that caliber of a player. And he kind of shows like, hey, I know I'm not the best, but I'm going to go out there and play my heart out. And then on the side, he, makes YouTube videos, gets money from that, gets sponsors. And that's one person I feel like that has been successful moving forward outside of graduation. But you're going to have a lot of people, who aren't set up how he is set up, that once they're done with college, you're going to lose a lot of your following. Just because you're no longer an athlete there. So you're going to lose some amount. I don't know exactly percentages or if that's even been studied yet. But like you're going to lose a following to an extent, no matter what, I feel.
Because you're not the face of a program.
Yeah.
That's the big thing. So like if you go on to the next level and succeed, you're going to continue to have that following. And you know what? Maybe at the next level, that organization, that business continues to pay you for, plugging their brand and everything. But if you're not at the next level, they're going to be like, okay, like you're done. So I think it's good. I like to see that it's going in a more helpful direction, especially for the athletes who don't have full rides. But I think it could get slippery really quick. And that just comes back to the NCAA saying, yeah, you can do it, but we don't really know what we're doing anymore. We really don't know what the regulations are. And the NCAA is just showing how incompetent they are.
Yeah. But I mean, you got to think they're branching across, a wide range of schools with different financial capabilities and also different populations on campus and what they offer as far as classes and moving forward for a higher education. A lot of the more prestigious schools like Ivy League, like Princeton, Harvard, Yale, those ones, like they're not going to be top dogs really. They'll have like breakout seasons from time to time. But really, you're not going to see like, oh, I'm like here to be the best, make it to the league. You don't really see that. They're more there for the academics, really, and I think that'll be helpful for those players as well who are going to prestigious schools, not even necessarily Ivy League, but who are going to school while being an athlete. And say, they are studying some, I don't know, like aerodynamics or they have some study that is relevant to the future of like society. They can always use that as a form of content moving outside of graduation, which I think is a good thing. It can lead to some good stuff, but there's also that slippery slope of, hey, I got all this money, I'm gonna spend it, try and flex on everyone, act like I'm really cool, I'm gonna go get a Ferrari, I don't care, and then graduate and be like, I got no money, what do I do? And then filing for bankruptcy. I think that's the biggest thing, is just the financial literacy of young people isn't to where it needs to be to entrust most of them. There are some that I think can handle it. But I feel like a good majority, if it's anyone's like me, dude, I don't know shit about finances. I don't know shit.
Yeah.
Like, that's
it'll be interesting. I think we're just gonna have to sit and wait. We'll see. We'll see with this first. I would say wait like 2-3 years to see that first real wave of like students who are used to doing it. See what happens. Like I said, I think there's good things about it. There's also some things that concern me, but it's a wait and see. So we can always revisit that in the future. I think we'll have to revisit that in the future.
Yeah, I don't think this topic's going away anytime soon.
No. So with that being said, we're going to move on to our final topic today on this lovely Sunday. We'll wrap it up for you guys. So unfortunately, you did not see this until right before the show.
I was so upset, and I was like, wait, what? No way.
So some of you might have been able to see this. The Field of Dreams game, probably like a week and a half ago now. So if you did not see it, it was against the White Sox and Yankees. Okay, they played out in Iowa at the location of the movie Field of Dreams. The MLB actually built an entire field. So MLB-sized field with stands that held 8,000 people. Tickets were around $400 a ticket, so not necessarily cheap. But they did White Sox, Yankees. Both teams had throwbacks. White Sox had their little S, their big S with the little OX, looking like Shoeless Joe Jackson era. And them and Kevin Costner walked out onto the field through the corn in the outfield.
I'm so mad I missed this. I'm so mad.
Iconic scene. Okay. Game lived up to the hype. White Sox won in walk-off fashion in the bottom of the ninth with Tim Anderson hitting a bomb. So I just love it. I love to see it. I think this was a fantastic.
I want to see more things like this. Since I just found about this earlier, like literally right before, maybe 5 minutes before we started, I've basically just kind of been looking at it through the whole podcast, and I'm like, really, I'm a little annoyed with myself that I missed this, because Field of Dreams, iconic movie. If you have not seen it, please take a look at it. If you like baseball, or even if you don't like baseball, it's a great movie.
If you just like sports, you like sports, it'll get to you.
Like I'm not a big like baseball. I like baseball. I'll watch games. But just like Field of Dreams is one of those movies that is like ingrained in my mind, and it's probably one of the best of all times. That and like any baseball movie I've really seen, Angels in the Outfield, Field of Dreams, Moneyball. All of those movies are fantastic. The Rookie, Major League.
Oh my God, Major League.
I love that movie, dude. Wild Thing, dude. But I would love to see. I love to see this happening. Because you're merging two different worlds, like people who have seen Field of Dreams and don't really watch baseball, and then you're also bringing baseball fans who might not have seen Field of Dreams, which might surprise me a little bit. But like, I really like where this is going. I love the fact that they walked out of the field and took the field. This is sweet. I love this. I'm also in just shock because I'm like, this is honestly something that I've dreamed about kind of as a kid, watching Field of Dreams. Like, that'd be so cool to watch an actual pro game on a field like that. And I feel like it kind of brings it back to like roots of baseball, not having a huge ass crowd, 8,000 people, still a lot of people.
But not near as many that
nearly,
the 20,000, 30,000 that some of those stadiums hold now.
I think I would want to hear what some of the players had to say about playing on that. Like, I haven't gotten to look into that, but that I feel like that'd be a surreal experience. Just like
it definitely
it
brings you back to a different level and a different appreciation of the game. So if for those of you who have not seen it, go look it up on social media, go watch the video. Them walking out of the corn gives you chills.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's just, and Kevin Costner, is this heaven? You know, that's just, it's amazing. And I'm so glad that the game lived up to the hype. Like, it wasn't a blowout. It was a high scoring affair, back and forth with a walk off, and the Yankees lost. So, I mean,
I'm happy.
You can't get much better than that. So, in addition to that, they've already announced, Manfred announced right after the game they would be back next season, but they didn't say in what capacity. There were rumors about maybe doing the All-Star game there. And the only thing that I don't like about that is there's so much interaction with the fans. Yeah. So I'm glad that's not what happened. What did happen is Manfred announced that there will be a one game next year, just like there was this year. And hopefully they do that going forward where they just select two teams. Yeah. I also think it'd be cool because as long as Nike's in charge, they're going to be throwback uniforms, which just makes it awesome. But the two teams that they selected for next year are the Cincinnati Reds and the Chicago Cubs.
I think that would be a good game, though.
I hope it is.
Because even if it's like one team is like better than the other, I think just playing those teams that have a lot of like history to them, the Cubs, the Reds. I mean, really any team in the league. Yeah, but it's a historic rivalry that deserves the attention. I mean, I think I like how they're not doing the All-Star game there. Like you said, I just think that's too much to be putting on that field. I would like to see this stay at like a small capacity, kind of an exclusive event. Just because you're not trying to make it like all the other baseball games. It's supposed to be more of a surreal, down to earth, like this is how baseball is played kind of vibe.
Back to the roots where you played on a field wherever it was.
Yeah, and I really enjoy that idea, and I think that's going to create a lot more like hype around the game than if you make this into another just huge stadium. And plus, like, I don't know, it's not somewhere where I'd be like, yeah, let's make this
Iowa.
Yeah, like I like the idea of keeping it small.
It's a one-time thing a year. You know, make it a big deal for that night. Okay, make it where that's the only game played, and it's on Fox. And so I like the direction. I just hope that they stay. Like, I don't have a lot of faith in Manfred just because of what, other things, but I think he's gotten this right, and hopefully it stays with that. The only question I have is, which throwback uniform do you want to see them Red Legs in?
Honestly, I would say keep it as close to like 1900s era for any team. I don't want to see like, I mean, there are jerseys that I like from like the 40s and 50s. But I want to see more of the classic, like almost first runs of like baseball jerseys. Like I want to see like no farther than like 35. I like the idea of keeping those jerseys as if, it was like members from like the Field of Dreams movie walking out onto the field. I don't want to see anything like too modern. Granted, if a team was created after a certain time, I just go with their like first jerseys or whichever ones fit more of that, or even create like a older style jersey for just that game alone. I think that would be dope.
Because I mean, you mentioned that the Washington Nationals, obviously that became a team when we were, growing up. They used to be the Expos. I don't think you're going to put them in a Montreal uniform, even though that would be really cool.
That would be nasty.
So, like, the question is, would you bring back the Washington Senators. So I think that'd be pretty cool if you like play like obviously I don't think the Washington Senators franchise then moved to Montreal and moved back, but I think that'd be cool if you played off that because Washington. I will say whenever the Dodgers get in, I want a Brooklyn uniform. I want those Jackie Robinson uniforms. Okay, I don't care that they're LA. I want it to say Brooklyn. Yeah. Okay, I want the B. Okay, get me some throwbacks.
You know,
I think it'd be awesome.
I like the idea of remembering where it comes from and not just being like, oh, I want the next best jersey. You know, those are nice and all, but I think that we also need to remember that, you know, these games would not be here without the people who came before us. And I like the idea of tributing at least one game, using like complete throwbacks, like just early jerseys. I just think that's a really cool idea. That if they can keep going, I think would be amazing to see.
Yeah. My next and final question for today would be, what would the Indians, soon to be Guardians, uniforms look like? Do you think they're allowed to bring back the Indians for that?
Boy.
Can we get a little cheap? Can we go more modern with them? Get a little Chief Wahoo back in it?
I think it would look good. They almost have to go Indians. Like, I mean, but then you run into the whole idea of like, oh, well, what would Washington wear? Granted, their team was created later, but, you know, name changes as they go. Like if we're doing LA, the Dodgers, and they're wearing Brooklyn jerseys, I would like to see Cleveland wearing Indians jerseys.
And I would like to see Miami instead of those gaudy orange and everything like that. Although they only wear the orange a little bit. Give me some of that. Like it. Give me that Florida Marlins pinstripe. Like, ooh.
I fuck with it. I mean, I think the Marlins marketing team and their creation of adding in those colors with the orange and also just going off of their like teal blue. I think that was a great move for them. It definitely brings more Miami vibes.
Nightclub coming at you.
Yeah, it gives more of that kind of scene and it's more of a representation of the city. And I think it was just a great marketing ploy for them. Like, honestly, the Marlins were down for a while, like not really a good team. And then they started changing those jerseys around. And I feel like that kind of led to a swing in their direction. They're moving up as like better as a better team in the league with that change. But I mean, that's personal opinion. Whether that actually correlates, you know, we'll see.
Yeah, but I don't know. Good things to come, though. Okay, very interesting to see what they'll do next year.
Yeah, I really want to see what happens moving forward with the Field of Dreams game. And I'd actually like to see it kind of reflect in other sports as well. I think that would be a really cool thing to start bringing back, like just having a iconic field or something with that sport that like just screams out, whether it's in like media from like a movie or moving forward, honestly, a Benchwarmers stadium, kind of be nasty. Little League World Series, hear me out.
Little League World Series field that looks like the Benchwarmers field.
That would be sweet. You know, every kid's like, yo, I'm playing here. Let's go. You know, I think that'd be awesome to see. And just making that gap of like the two entertainment worlds, I think it'd be good for both. But, you know, we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, we will definitely see what happens in the future. So with that being said, I think we're going to wrap it up on this lovely Sunday.
All right, guys. Stay blessed. Have a great week. We'll be back next week for a little bit of a different twist in topics.
Yeah, we're leaving sports behind next week.
Yeah, no more sports. We're done.
For now.
At least for 1 week. Okay. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great week. We'll see you next week.